afternoon, and thank you for joining us for our operations update with PlasCred's Circular Innovations. PlasCred trades under the ticker symbol PLAS on the CSC and on Frankfurt XV2. PlasCred differentiates itself as they are not a mechanical recycler or trying to make renewable transportation fuels where scalability and costs are prohibitive. With us today from the company is founder and CEO Troy Lupul. I think it would be ideal to do a complete run-through of the story and touch on your recently announced partnerships since our last presentation. There will be an opportunity for Q&A after the presentation. Please enter them in the Q&A box or email me at jessica@adcap.ca. This presentation may contain forward-looking statements. Good afternoon, Troy, and welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Jess. Thank you for having me today.
We'd love to get a little bit on your background and how you came up with this fantastic idea.
My background is basically obviously oil and gas. I ran a lot of process equipment company, mostly in SAGD and thermal, a lot of the big major projects for tailings ponds, and inventing a lot of equipment for different production as well as upstream and downstream. Obviously, the evolution of plastic it's a hydrocarbon-based product. Our evolution is that we were extracting microplastics from water and nobody was doing anything with the reject stream. And as you know, plastic is hydrocarbon based no matter what species it is. Basically, it's what we drill for and we use for feedstocks. So the evolution was to basically realize that no one was dealing with the reject streams of plastic other than recycled bottles and milk jugs. So we really looked at it hard with a great team, and we're pretty excited. We formed PlasCred from that.
Fantastic.
So basically, I'll start off by just kind of showcasing PlasCred here. What we did today is we put together an amazing management team. We've got Wayne Monnery, our CTO, tons of experience with different producers from Suncor to Exxon. Brian Hurst, once again, very oil and gas based. He worked with different producers throughout his career. We're really proud that we've got James Caron. He's our logistics supply element to our company and was basically number 2 in charge at CN for all the heavy oil movement as well as different administrations for rail. Jerry Jelowitz is on our board. Really great, amazing guy. Runs Journey Energy, which is about 15,000 barrels a day. And then myself with different companies I've owned within the service industry for most of the producers all my life. So we've got I would say, a very good in-depth management team that has done the 100 to 200, $500 million projects. So we're quite used to doing larger projects. Having that said, once we put the team together, we raised $4.3 million. You can see a little bit of our stock balance. I own about 40% of the shares. And right now, currently, we're trading at about 35 cents a share. And basically, we came out, we did an RTO this August, a reverse takeover. And we basically are now traded on the CSE. So you see a little bit of the management, 44%. So we're here to move the needle here, and we're really excited about our team. As you know, less than 4% of our plastic is recycled in Canada. The whole concept that we wanted to achieve was that there was a lot of feedstocks of plastics from C1 to C7. Well, what does that mean? That means automotive parts, your Tesla dashboard, agricultural waste, a lot of bulk of the plastic that's currently not being recycled. It's either incinerated or basically thrown in the landfill, either in Arizona or Michigan. Or better yet, offshored. And offshoring means they basically grind pipes and different things like that, and they try to remelt it in foreign countries. The stuff that isn't rejected gets to be thrown in our never-ending landfill called the ocean. So we've got a real issue with what I'm going to say non-recycled plastic. What's really great, what we've been able to come up with and develop is because we're hydrocarbon based, we actually are developing from all plastics from C1 to C7. There again, that's your Tesla dashboard, your TV, your hard plastics, your computer, keyboard, anything you can think of that's hydrocarbon based. We're two-phasing that back to its original Mother Earth molecule. And you can see we're making what is called renewable green condensate on this slide. And basically, that is all species of plastic, converting it back to its original condensate molecule. And basically that molecule is very simply done with all species, PVC, polyvinyl chloride to high density polyethylene to polypropylene. So we can basically do that.
And how would that? Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, how would that differ from a mechanical recycler or some of these companies that are trying to make renewable fuels, etc.? Why are they limited and you are not?
Yeah, what gives us a complete different, when we studied the environment around the globe, why, plastics, mechanically, they're going after things that have a government subsidy, such as bottles, and they go plastic to plastic or plastic to monomer. We don't want to play with that world. We're definitely not into the mechanical recycling. We don't want to play with their plastic. We want to play with plastics that are basically the biggest harm to our environment, which are the automotive car parts that wound up in the landfill, the high density polyethylene for agriculture that goes on the ground, that gets chipped up and maybe gets recycled or burnt. So we're going after probably 90% of the plastic in North America that is basically not being recycled today. And that's a huge differentiator. The other differentiator is when we traveled the world and we spent our monies looking at different pyrolysis technologies and what they did, there was a huge fascination with trying to make transportation fuel, which is technically done, but it's very commercially unfeasible due to the fact that it costs a lot of money to take a piece of plastic and two-phase it and then put it into something you're going to put in your Dodge truck Cummins diesel. It's to make an ASME grade diesel, it's a technical success, but you have to throw a lot of money at it. So our primary focus is, because we live in the Alberta market, we focus in on what is the original Mother Earth molecule. Simply take all plastics back to its original state. And that's what we're doing. And we've done very successful at it. And I can move to that now just to kind of show you about our product. As you know, our finished product is a condensate from all plastics from C1 to C7. And our market in Alberta, for instance, is about 1.1 million barrels a day. We import about 200,000 barrels a day of condensate from the States. And then it basically creates our lifeblood in order to move our heavy oil within the province. And that's 1.1 million barrels a day. So, and that current market is getting bigger due to the fact that obviously with the new twinning of the Trans Mountain, we're going to need more condensate. And as we ramp production up, we're going to need more condensate. So our primary target making raw mixed plastic of all species, which I have a bag here of, we are basically targeting 100% a C5 Enbridge Condi spec, and we've been able to achieve this beautiful renewable molecule, so which has been fantastic. Basically, our first phase, we're going to be taking 300 tons or 300,000 kilograms a day and making it into a 2,000 barrel a day condensate. So we've teamed up with CN, and our patented process allows us to consistently make a C5 Enbridge spec, which is a condensate spec. And this allows us to basically sell it to the producers in our world. So our primary goal eventually is to get to 10,000 barrels a day, which will be exactly 1.3 million tons a day of raw mixed plastic. So baled, it doesn't need to be sorted. Doesn't matter what type of species of plastic's in there.
And can you maybe touch on how you sourced your feedstock and how CN plays a big part of that?
Yeah, so to do these type of volumes, we really need a logistics champion, and CN has been just an absolute amazing partner. They are a logistics partner in PlasCred's. They basically are allowing us and them to work together collaboratively to have rail cars come from Prince Rupert, Vancouver, full of product, go to Toronto, Chicago, get unloaded, but now they have an empty box. We can load the empty box with bales of plastic and backhaul it back to Fort Saskatchewan and Edmonton, where we can basically make our molecule. This is a huge win. It's a great logistics win for CN because they get a backhaul, but also at the same time too, it helps us basically dominate that space where we can source feedstocks from like Magna Auto Parts, Loblaws, things that are basically destined for landfill, and basically allow no tipping fee. That's a huge opportunity for companies to bring the plastic. We have a huge amount of agriculture waste that we've secured, things that are just heading to landfill anyway, that is in the tons and tons. So we're barely scratching the surface for raw feedstock. And by not charging a tipping fee, the companies that we've dealt with today love it, because if they don't have to pay a tipping fee, they can give it to us. We can put it on our CN intermodal terminal, which is pretty much everywhere on the grid, and bring it to the plant. I've shown a process diagram here of kind of how our plant works. Basically, what we'll be able to do is logistically take advantage of CN's backbone throughout North America, from Mobile, Alabama, Chicago, Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, bring it to us. We'll shred it. We have a very patented washing system that we're doing that's really unique that no one else has. There again, that's kind of oil and gas skill set. We've built our own reactor, which basically we've taken from FCC, fluidized catalytic cracker ideas and different processes, applied that. And that's why we can take C1 to C7. So we know how to deal with the chlorides, the benzenes, the aromatics, things like that. So we're not creating a product. And one of the interesting things on our journey is we watched how a lot of people were doing pyrolysis. They kind of create a monster juice at the end of the product. They don't have a real goal of creating a finished product, and it's not very good. So anybody can do pyrolysis, but you really got to be able to tear the molecule apart. And because of our process, we have our patented reactor. But also, if you look at those three pancakes there, that's our ex situ catalysis process. That allows us to put the molecule back together the way we want and be able to come up with a really beautiful finished C5 Enbridge spec condensate. And this currently today is trading for about $105 to $110 a barrel. So it's very, very profitable.
What temperature do you use, which is also a differentiating factor with other pyrolysis type companies?
Yeah, what's really good about that question, Jess, is that once again, when on our journey around the globe, we went to Europe, where they're using supercritical steam, high pressure, high temp. A lot of the ones, rotary kilns, they're using 600 to 800 degrees C, which is the wrong tool because it cokes off. We were able to get it down to less than 350 degrees Celsius. So that means I can take all the mixed species of plastic, regardless if it's C1 to C7, and be able to two-phase it at a nice lower temperature. That means less energy, half the amount of calorific value. So we're really successful in that.
So better yields and less energy, really.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And now you generate less waxes and you've got a better finished product. So when you go to, on the back end, when you go to refine it, you've got a bigger yield, upwards of 80%. So it's extremely exciting. So this is our process, and it's been very, very successful. And we're really excited about our finished product because our customers, which are very large producers, all want that renewable molecule. So it's we kind of speak their language. We understand refineries. We don't want to create a product that poisons catalysts or anything like that. We're creating a very, very good quality product that can go be renewed. But what also it does is it offsets virgin barrels. And if you're offsetting virgin barrels, and as of today, whether you're in West Texas or Northeast BC or in the Kakwa and Grand Prairie, you're drilling for liquid-rich wells. This is what they're drilling for. So if we can basically replace it by taking raw feedstock of plastic and basically create the product that they're drilling for, that offsets virgin barrels, which is a huge, huge opportunity and a money-making opportunity. So, which we've been able to establish.
And are you eligible for carbon credits for that, doing that?
Not only carbon credits, we are currently working with a firm here in Calgary that is establishing how much carbon we'll save by reducing, well drilling for this liquid-rich condi, as well as the plastic credits. So that's been really exciting. We think potentially the plastic credits could be worth more than the condensate itself, the commodity. So pretty exciting. Moving on, obviously we don't want to be mechanical recyclers. We're not into that space. We're not here to be a threat to any mechanical recyclers. We're not into chasing that type of plastic. Well, our primary focus is just to really take plastic that's completely contaminated, of different species, bundled it together so you don't have to worry about, separation. Big, easy opportunity. And then basically we've had huge success. We've got a very large full-scale pilot plant that we've built here in Calgary. And it's basically, obviously got all the right food groups that all the different producers have come by, tested, and did their own third-party analysis, which has been great. And we've basically patented our process from our reactor to as well as the process. So it's, how do you say, simplicity is the hardest thing to get to.
So when you speak to that, I mean, obviously scalability is always the issue with these type of operations. With the equipment that you use, is it easily scalable?
Yes. And that's why we wanted to go with off-the-shelf refinery equipment that we're used to building. So it's a question of just increasing the diameter size. So it's more of a calculation in sizing rather than something that you have to play with. We've been very successful in that. And that's the other reason why we wanted to build a very large pilot plant, because there again, if you look at, de-risking it for monies or people's money, we wanted to make sure that you can see the volumes, you can see the quality of the product, but also be able to easily scale it. And we've really been able to reduce our supply chains. We've been able to connect with all our vendors that we currently use in Alberta, as well as the United States, and be able to bring them together. So this way we have no less field exposure. It's all modular. And the nice thing about it is it's your typical SAGD thermal build. We're trying to mitigate any field exposure and go with vendors that are proven. So
you're not reinventing the wheel. Yeah, it's just something that's been made at bigger scale already. So, but just different configuration. Is that fair?
That is correct.
Okay. And your end.
Now, this is kind of the commercial end products I wanted to show you. Like the gas phase, the aromatic component is basically quite big. And basically we bring that back to the burner tip. There's been a lot of talk from different vendors wanting us to make more gas phase so they can actually reuse that for like a Dow or something like that. But right now, our primary focus is that we make money on the commodity, which is our renewable green condensate. We get about 80%. So for every kilo we bring in, we get about 80% in finished product with this kilo, which is really good. Now on the black carbon, we're selling that to asphalt companies, and the asphalt companies are using it for basically pigment in their color for asphalt. There's also a lot of other companies that are bugging us for it. So we do have offtake agreements coming with those as well.
Can you reuse some of the aromatics like within the plant?
The gas phase that we'll have in there, we'll basically be able to bring it back, which will reduce our energy consumption even more by about 40%. It's not an exothermal process whatsoever. Nothing is. But the one advantage is we can take that gas, bring it back to our original burner tip, and process it from there. So it's actually a real good cost savings, especially with our low, melting points that we have. We've been able to get all this into a vapor state at 350 degrees C. Oh, and it's done at less than 10 psi. That's the other thing. Supercritical steam that's being used in Scotland, I mean, it's 3,200 psi. We're at 10 psi. So just to show you some of the big advantages we have, because the less energy you put into taking all forms of plastic, meaning you can get it from this state to a vapor state at least amount of energy, least amount of heat, least amount of everything, you've won. You've been able to crack it, get it back. And then also now you got to make it into a finished product. You don't want to create monster juice. You want to create this beautiful original Mother Earth molecule that they're drilling for in the Kakwa or Grand Prairie for condensate. So it's very simple. Simplicity is the hardest thing to get to, and making money is the key. So
how many companies have you had third parties test your product at this point? We've
had about 4 now. We had some midstreamer companies come in. We've had some producers come in, and we've had one from Houston that said it was the cleanest, highest grade oil they've ever seen from a process. Because once again, if you don't know how to handle the pre-treatment of this, and you'll kind of end up with monster juice on the back end. So you got to understand what your finished product is, what you want to make. And I think that's a huge differentiator from us from all the other stories I've seen out there on the planet Earth for pyrolysis oil, you really got to know what you're doing up front, right to the end, and make a finished product. So that's a huge delta compared to anybody else, Jess.
Okay, thank you.
Once again, I can't stress more about CN. Our site is right in Scotford, right in front of Shell and Dow. If people aren't familiar with it, this couldn't be a better real estate. CN is leasing us their site at Shell Scotford, right in Fort Saskatchewan. If I was to replicate that site, it would be worth well over $100 million. They've given us the site for 15-year lease with an option for another 15 years. They view us as a utility, being able to bring the boxcars from east to west, process the plastic, get the boxes out to Prince Rupert. But what's really exciting is that they've been just amazing in that site. We've got all the food groups, power, water, sewer. It's permitted. It's right in Refinery Row. We're in the heart of the beast of all IPL in the world, and I couldn't thank CN enough for helping us grow as a company and fulfilling this dream of being the dominant player for mixed waste recycled plastic in North America. So with their backbone and their logistics, it's going to be super exciting what we're going to be able to do here in North America. So,
and they're giving you an 18-month lease free for build?
Yeah. Once our engineering starts in our build cycle, our plant build is about 18 to 24 months. And what's really exciting is they said, here, we'll give you a grace period while you're building the plant. And we're putting the monies into the site. And we're really building a really nation building exercise. I think it's super exciting, the fact that, CN's a part of our story. And yeah, we're gonna dominate the waste mix plastic. We can bring it in cost effectively with the rail because it's big volumes. We can ramp the plant up to 10,000 barrels a day. Which is super exciting. And with their help, it's been amazing. I couldn't thank them enough as a partner. They've just been an absolute dream to work with. We also have Fiberco in Vancouver, where we're working with to import plastic. We currently have a couple bales coming from Indonesia. We're going to be importing them. And we've also got some bales coming from Dominican Republic. We're importing those as well. And we're going to demonstrate we can take this old 5-year-old plastic that's been sitting in the ocean for 5 years and be able to two-phase it back into original condensate. So these logistic partners are a huge building block of PlasCred's. And now let me talk about Palantir, Jess. This is what I'm really excited about, because when you start bringing in all these major volumes of plastic, we got medical waste, we've got agriculture waste, we've got the toothpaste bottle, we've got diapers, you name it. Everything's here. But guess what? If we identify it through our scanners, and what we're doing is we're identifying what product it is, what species, what color, what everything. And then Palantir out of Palo Alto, California, has come to us, and they're helping us build our AI system for our plant. They're our partners, and we're super excited being, Palantir is our partner, because we're going to extrapolate all the data out of our plastic. And we're going to basically showcase to a Procter & Gamble or a Unilever or a Nestle or a Coke or a PepsiCo, this is how much volume you brought in, and this is what type it was. This was the chip bag. This was the candy wrapper. We're going to basically monetize that data, and we're going to basically monetize it because of the strength of the scanning systems that we bring in, but also the AI component that Palantir brings in. So by giving that data back to our customers and back to the feed, this will create what is probably going to be the most advanced plastic credit in North America. And that's really what we're trying to get to. We want to identify, see the subject, and basically be able to monetize that data. So it's pretty exciting what we're doing with Palantir.
Yeah, and for those who are not aware, that in the UK, EU, and numerous states, many of the bottle makers are subject to fines if they're not using at least 30% recycled plastic, going up to 45%. And it's very hard to recycle that food grade PET plastic effectively because it becomes too brittle. So a lot of these plastic producers are going to be in a position where they have to purchase plastic credits to offset their fines. Yeah. Hence the plastic market that's been developed.
Yeah, and that's why we don't want to play with the mechanical recyclers. We are much more advanced. We're further upstream, and we take it all. And if you have a mechanical recycler, that has some reject stream and they can't take it, we can take it for them and process it. And they can keep doing what they do best. And with us doing the identification with our AI system, with help with Planeteer, that'll separate us from the rest of the world quite a bit. So we're pretty excited about that. Just to showcase where we're going to be building the plant, you can see the star up there. It's right by Edmonton. That's our first phase. Second phase, we're going to be doing in Chicago, right in the heart. We've got tons of offtake, tons of refineries. And then we've got our other one in the Gulf Coast here where we've identified for very large scale processing for all raw mixed plastics. So eventually you'd get to that. If we get to 50,000 barrels a day, that would take all of Canada's plastic. So just kind of give you some numbers out there if you're interested. Carbon credits, we're really in a great driver's seat. We can see what CN's going to do with their backhauls, offsetting drilling for those virgin molecules. What did that do? But what's really interesting is these plastic credits, and the plastic credits will be purchased from the companies. So basically, if we go back, once again, like I said, if we monetize this data, go back to a PepsiCo and say, look, this is how much plastic and this was what type it was and where it was from and everything that we have for data, we'll be able to get a very large plastic credits. Technically, the plastic credits could be worth more than the commodity itself. So it has potential. We've been told by different producers and also a very large midstream company that they're getting 3,000 to 2,000 euros a ton right now. So that's pretty prolific for us. That's pretty amazing. So
yeah,
pretty exciting.
And which made me want to just go down to the revenue streams there.
Yeah. So we're verified. We're getting our ICSS plus. We're already currently, Vera's come to us. We were already certified with Vera. So we're really excited about that. And then also here's our revenue stream. So maybe we can touch on that. We're currently in negotiations right now for definitive offtake agreements with two very large major producers. And those major producers, want the data, where this came from, how it's made, where, everything. And then having a renewable molecule go back into the refinery at this quality. Remember, it's got to be at this quality. That's the difference. Anybody can make pry oil, but it's got to be, so you don't, a lot of pyrolysis oil could damage catalysis processes in their plant or their cat beds. You got to make a quality product that is superior so they can reuse it in their facilities. So first phase that we're going to be doing, our capital cost is 120 million Canadian for 2,000 barrels a day. So that's about $60,000 a flowing barrel. Second phase is 10,000 barrels a day with an additional 50 million in capital. We're going to 10,000 barrels a day. By that state, at 10,000 barrels a day, we'll be able to easily pay the plant off in 2 years. So a 24-month payback. Our net back per barrel are very high. Go ahead, Jess.
Oh, yeah. So I was going to say, so you build the front end engineering to accommodate the 10,000, so that the rest are just bolt-ons, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think because of our experience building mega projects to 300 million, when you're doing different stages of SAGD or thermal or mining or different operations, you really got to design the front end so it's capable of growing. You cannot, bottleneck your capital so that, it's, got to almost cost you more and more. It's going to get cheaper per barrel. As we bring on more phases, the cost per flowing barrel gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So and that's due to our experience as a team. And I'm really excited about that because if you look at our net back per barrel, that means, railing a ton of plastic from, say, Vaughan, Ontario to Fort Saskatchewan, doing the transportation, getting the feedstock, processing it, getting it at the gate. We can do that all for $40 a barrel. And I don't have to pay royalties. I don't have any geological risk. And the great news is I don't have to worry about drilling a dry hole. So it's really good. So it's exciting.
When were your cost estimates done and by whom?
They were done last year. We've had different companies do that. We had Gray Owl come in and do the plant class 3 costing. We've also had David West, who did our financial modeling, does it all for the big major banks. We've really ran the gauntlet. We've really erred on the side of caution. We built the whole model around the commodity. So our net back per barrel is, $60 to $75 a barrel. And, you can see we're very, very profitable. And that was the key. And that was one of the drivers that, as a company, we have to make money, profit. The oil and gas guys get this. I don't think a lot of the ESG guys get it because they're more into government credits, this type of world. We don't play in that space. I mean, I'm looking at it almost as a producer. I go out, I basically drill a hole, I make condensate, liquid rich wells. Well, it's the same thing. I'm going out getting almost free reservoir, and I'm two-phasing it simply into a renewable condensate. And that renewable molecule creates a circularity in the world. And that is a huge advantage compared to, something that is subsidized. And this is pure profit. If, our net backs per barrel are, as we grow to 10,000 barrels a day, our net back per barrel is profitability gets better and better.
Okay. One question from the audience. Because of the bolt-on aspect, what do you think the all-in capital cost per barrel for the full 10,000 barrels per day, 120 million plus 45 equals 165 million divided by 10,000 is 16,500 of flowing?
Yeah. And like I said, the more we ramp up, the cheaper the flowing barrel. So the first 2,000 barrels is 120 million Canadian. That works out to $60,000 a flowing barrel. But as we increase production, and because remember, we're smart enough to design the plant so it can take the full 10 for the grinding, the washing, the processing. Once again, as we ramp up with the add-on modules, our flowing barrel drops. And now our net backs per barrel get way better. And that's what's sexy. I get super excited when we start making tons of money because that's what this is about. It's about cash flow, making money, and absolutely doing good for the environment. So, you can get two birds with one stone. So, and that's why our story is different. I think a lot of people who have tried to do plastic or only understand the mechanical side, like bottle to bottle or recycling plastic back to another plastic. We don't do that. We're not in that world. We are strictly hydrocarbon, kids, as you might say. We understand refining, and we basically make the ethane and make it into plastic. Well, now we're pulling it back to its original Mother Earth molecule. And I think that's where the business case makes more sense. So if you were to give me monies, I want to make a good return on this molecule. And that's what it's about.
Have you completed an LCA?
Yes. And in regards to that, when like different forms of testing, we've done tons of that. We've done tons of third-party analysis. A lot of different companies. They've come. A lot of producers, a lot of midstreamers. Different people want different things. Someone wants the olefins in. Some people don't want the olefins in. It's been a good journey, and I've really enjoyed it.
You can actually design it for the end customer and their needs. You can tweak your catalytic process to enable that.
Yeah, that's the other thing that's really good about what simplicity once again has given us an advantage is some companies want the olefin in, which is actually worth more money. And other companies, like some midstreamers, say, oh, we don't want any olefins because it creates asphaltenes in the pipe. Well, that's good. We can take it out, but if I sell it to a refinery, they want the olefin, so I actually make more money. So we can critique this molecule for what the customer wants, and I think that's another huge advantage that we have over everybody else in this space.
Is there an overall goal license? Is the overall goal to license this process?
No. This is a standalone company. We do not lease or rent. We would be happy to work with somebody as a working interest, but we would be the prime, like a farm in or something like that. We'd be more than happy to go there where where we could go, but we're definitely not leasing this technology.
What happens to the PVC, hydrogen chloride in particular?
Yeah, so you're always going to get PVC. Those chlorides are very damaging to the finished product. So you don't want to bring in those chlorides whatsoever. So we have a unique process within our whole burn period, and we've been able to do a workaround and be able to subtract that. And what's really cool, a lot of the chlorides that will be building up in the plant, they'll actually come back. We're going to bring all that back through our wash water to wash the plastic. So actually every molecule gets used. So yeah, we have a technology that, say we got a slug of PVC, say 5-10%. Not only can we segregate that, but we can actually reuse that and actually take the chlorides off and basically reuse that as a process within our water. And it's pretty good because we don't want it to end up in the finished product. So that's why out of everybody else is doing pyrolysis, they'll use that, and that can create those chlorides and hydrochloric acids that are damaging. So yeah, we've done a technology built into our process that eliminates that and works with plastic. See, that was the key thing. You have to work with all species from C1 to C7. Most of these companies only focus in on one product and one product only. You got to take the whole spectrum. You got to take everything. Like I look at all those big mechanical recyclers, not to mention some of them, but they're only focused on one type of species. Well, that's a subsidy. That means you got to have some type of government grant. I'm taking it all. I'm making condensate. But good question. Love the question. Love it.
The limits to the amount of PVC and PET that you can handle?
Much as possible.
No limits. No limits.
Yeah, no limits. Yeah, because one of the things is when you look at your feedstocks, and how you blend it in, and then the way we pre-treatment and pre-process it, I could take that back into like through like the pre-boil phase, and basically take that vapor off, basically condense it with the water, and then I could get more of a hydrochloric acid washing effect for going in the water. I don't want to give too much away. I'm trying to be cautious, but yeah, we can take a lot of it, and yeah, we could take a lot. Yeah, I'm trying to be selective in my words, but yeah, no, we can handle it. There's no problem. Just if we get a couple train loads of PVC, we'll wash it, we'll process it, but we know how to deal with it, and we'll take that molecule because that is still a valuable molecule.
Okay, so catalyst-wise, we're looking for your feed study next, and then offtake agreements. But is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got our own Kool-Aid formula of catalysis that we've got off the shelf, but in how you apply it and where and what variety. We have different guard beds that we've developed. Once again, work really well with chlorides, benzene, the different aromatics component. You got to understand the whole species. When you're looking at a lot of the lighter ends, being able to run it through your catalyst so you don't poison them, you don't wreck them, and be able to have, because it comes all in the front, pre-treatment. And I think that's one of the things from a technical point of view. If we have any chemists on the show here today, we really are thinking about every molecule that will come in, because you're going to get such a variety of species with color, paint. We got to get the peanut butter off the Jiffy bottle here. You got to get the blood off the syringe. You got to get everything out of here. You got to get the car part, the oil off. You're going to have a lot of species of contamination in front. So you got to create a nice pharmaceutical grade flake, which we've done here. And once you do that, now you got to process it. Now you got the molecule phase you got to deal with. You got to be able to pull it apart cheaply and then put it back together cheaply. And then you got to have a nice quality product. You can't make monster juice. And this is the thing, Jess, that I really find a lot of the pyrolysis guys are making. They're just making, heavy oil. They're just making oil. They don't understand a C5 Enbridge spec. And I think that's where separates us from the rest of the world in what we're doing in advanced recycling of plastics.
Are you using a noble catalyst?
Yes and no. Yes and no. We can do in situ catalysis as well as ex situ. But once again, you're not going with something that's you can't go with something that's crazy expensive. If you do that, you poison it, you have problems. You don't want to do that. No. You got to go with simplicity. Once again, there's our knowledge coming through from our experiences with different producers. and different refineries that we've worked at, where you can see what poisons any form of these cats. So very, very good question.
Okay, so next we need to see your feed, and then you're in negotiations. You said with a couple of super majors for offtakes.
So we've sent out our definitive offtake agreements. Those definitive offtake agreements are for 2 to 3 years. They are going to buy up all our molecule at a very good price.
But they're not completed. Just to be clear, these are not completed, these offtakes yet.
They're just right now in negotiations. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So those are the next catalysts we should look for.
Yeah.
If anyone has, there's another question. Is there a minimal viable scale that you're targeting?
Well, our first phase is 300,000 kgs of raw mixed plastic. Our primary goal is to, get to 10,000 barrels a day, which is basically 1.3 to 1.5 million tons. That's one plant. And then the second plant in Chicago or Mississippi, would do the same. We do 10,000 barrels. So our primary goal is to be the predominant North American player for all raw mixed plastic for all the industries in North America. And with CN's help, we've got our logistics down, we've got our process, and we're doing it right in the heart of molecule country. So we want to get as big as possible because simplicity is on our side. So that's I'm really excited about our future and the fact that we're profitable. That's what's key.
One more question. What is the square foot or acre footprint of a 10,000 barrel a day facility?
10,000 barrels is about 20 acres. We currently have 42 at our CN Scotford site. They have 42. All we needed was 20, and that's for 10,000 barrels a day.
And future capital requirements, what do you need?
So currently right now, the plant, obviously, I said, is 120 million. For the 2,000 barrels a day. Then phase 2 to get to 10,000 barrels a day is only 45 to 50 million. And from there, basically, we're up at 10,000 barrels a day. And then from there, we'll look at a different site, such as, Chicago or Mississippi. But today, obviously, we're, obviously looking for monies.
Okay. And how much would you need now, to get your feed done, get you to the point where you get your offtake?
Yeah, because our partner is also, we work with Gray Owl Engineering. They're our EPCM. Currently, they're about 3 to 5 million. And we basically on that feed study is about 2 million. And then the other use of proceeds is to put deposit checks on some of the longer lead items like the grinders, a few of the other technologies that we need to put deposits on that are coming. The plant's about 85% North American built. So, we want to work with vendors that are proven here in North America. There's a few European ones that we're buying from as well. But we're really trying to keep it tight hole, as we say in the oil patch. Go with a herd that's going to win. Because the key to this is making money and cash flow. Once we start cash flowing, and that'll be a different animal. The bigger banks will even love us more.
Well, it shouldn't be a problem to debt finance the bigger.
Exactly.
The plant with an offtake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but just want to stress and say that we're not into mechanical recycling. We don't want to compete with them. We're strictly going after feedstocks that are, basically vast majority that isn't being recycled. And basically, we are a profitable company that makes a finished product that is a renewable molecule for the refineries in North America.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
Well, there's no other questions, and if anyone would like to have a further discussion, you can email me at jessica@adcap.ca, or if you'd like further questions answered by Troy, we'd be happy to facilitate that. Oh, one more popped up here. Is a presentation available? Yes, but you're anonymous, so it's available on the website.
Yeah, if you go on our website, it's right under Investors Group, and you can download the presentation right from there.
Great. Okay, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.